5 months pregnant. I was pushed from the 3rd floor, blood pooling everywhere. Robert brought in top international specialists, and I survived. But the child, like the previous 7 miscarriages, was gone forever. Grief-stricken, I searched everywhere frantically, desperate for one last look at the child I had lost. But in a corner of the hospital, I overheard a conversation between a doctor and Robert. Mr. Robert, there were other options. Why did you have to take the child from your wife's womb? That was your own child. Sarah has an aversion to things like that, and she had her needs. This was the safest method. I worried about the health risks of using someone else's. The truth about losing my child was thrust before me unexpectedly. My loving husband, it turned out, was the culprit all along. Since he loved Sarah so much, fine, I'll give them what they deserve. Just beyond the door, the conversation in the corner of the hospital continued. Get ready, before Eleanor wakes up. Go perform the hysterectomy on her. The doctor froze in shock. You want to remove your wife's uterus? Mr. Robert, I must remind you, you have no children yet. If you remove your wife's uterus, you won't have an heir. I don't need an heir. Sarah gave birth to a son for me yesterday. I promised her I'd leave all my property to our child. Keeping Eleanor's uterus is a threat. The doctor looked reluctant and said urgently, but your child with Ms. Sarah will eventually take someone else's last name and call another man dad. Mr. Robert, is this really worth it? Besides, your wife has miscarried 7 times. The chance of her getting pregnant again is already very low. Robert lit a cigarette, his voice deep and bitter. It's not about whether it's worth it. I love Sarah, and I'll give her everything I have to treat her well. But Robert furrowed his brow. No buts. Do as I say. Robert was about to get up when his phone rang. He accidentally hit the speakerphone button. Rob, I got the money. Hey, hit me up next time for this kind of gig. I've done it 7 times, I know the ropes, and I've already planned for next time. I'm gonna pretend to be a kidnapper and target your wife's pregnancy. There won't be a next time. Take your money and get out of Rockwood City. Footsteps sounded from inside. I stumbled back to the hospital room, and before I could even lie down, Robert came in. Ellie, when did you wake up? I was covered in sweat, my body trembling as I forced myself to appear calm. Just woke up. Didn't see you. Was about to go look. Robert's gaze fixed on me, full of scrutiny. My heart was pounding with anxiety, just as I thought H discovered me. He lifted me by the waist onto the hospital bed. Why aren't you taking care of yourself? We've already lost hope. You can't afford to come to any harm. He had the nerve to bring it up, thinking of the children he had intentionally killed. I clutched my chest, tears welling up uncontrollably. All those car accidents, robberies, and falls I'd experienced were never accidents after all. But my husband, repeatedly trying to kill me for his mistress. The doctor just said your uterus wasn't completely clear and you need another procedure. Ellie, don't be afraid. We'll definitely have a beautiful baby. Hell, have your eyes in my nose and mouth. We'll be doubly good to him then and make up for all our regrets. Robert handed me a glass of milk. As he turned, I saw him add something to it. He held me close and gently comforted me, his eyes full of feigned tenderness. But I knew this was just a facade to lull me into a false sense of security. Do I have to drink it? Can I not? Robert, you've killed my 7 children, and now you want to take away my last chance at being a mother? Without a moment's hesitation, he stroked my head and smiled dotingly. Look at you, a grown woman, acting like a baby. What if you don't have the surgery and don't recover? Do you want your husband to worry himself sick? Come on, let husband feed you. He brought the milk to my lips, giving me no chance to refuse. I squeezed my eyes shut, as if what I was swallowing wasn't milk, but a razor blade. My consciousness slowly faded. In a daze, I saw the doctor, who was colluding with Robert, walk in. Proceed with the surgery now. Also, Robert's voice hesitated for a few seconds. Find a way to use anesthetic to paralyze her lower body. Mr. Robert, is that really necessary? Isn't that too cruel? Just do as I say. I knew Robert was always cautious and suspicious, but I never expected him to be this ruthless just because he saw I woke up early. My children, my chance to be a mother, and now even my chance to walk. He wants to take it all away. Robert, are you trying to tear my heart out like this? I screamed in despair, struggling to sit up, but fell into a deeper coma. As the anesthetic began to wear off, I vaguely heard the doctor say, Mr. Robert, your wife's hysterectomy is complete. Also, she won't be able to walk again. Robert was extremely relieved, saying repeatedly, good. When I fully woke up, his tears were falling on my hand. a display of seemingly genuine pain. Ellie. The doctor said your uterus is damaged and you cannot have children. I ignored him and frantically tried to move my legs, but there was no sensation. I broke down, sobbing uncontrollably and trembling. I demanded, Robert, what did you do to my legs? His tears streamed down his face, and he choked back sobs several times, unable to speak. There was a complication with the anesthetic during the surgery. You have lower body paralysis. Ellie, don't be afraid. No matter what happens to you, I'll never leave your side. I'll always love you. I never thought Robert was such a good actor. He sent the nurse away, personally fed me porridge, wiped my body, and even took care of the lochia himself. He stayed busy until nightfall, then kissed my forehead with feigned tenderness. Ellie, you've suffered so much through these pregnancies for me. I'll be doubly good to you from now on. I looked at his tired face and coldly turned away. If you're tired, get some rest. Okay, husband will stay here and watch over you. Call me if you need anything. After he fell asleep, I picked up his other phone. I'd always known Robert had another phone, but it was his work phone, so I'd never checked it. It unlocked on the first try. The password was Sarah's birthday. As soon as the lock screen opened, the first thing I saw was his wedding photos with Sarah. Wedding photos. He actually went and took wedding photos with Sarah. The sight of all that white stung my eyes painfully. Trembling, I tapped on his messaging app. Robert affectionately called her baby. The dense chat records. The more I read, the more horrified I became. Every one of his business trips, it turned out, was just an excuse to be with Sarah. I'd been angry many times, resenting that he never went to the hospital with me. How many times did the doctor ask about the baby's father? I could only give an awkward smile and say he was busy. He would always take a long time to reply to my messages. I'm working to earn money for the baby's needs. Besides, a checkup isn't a big deal. I wouldn't be much help if I went, and it would just waste time. You can handle it yourself. But he was there for Sarah's prenatal care, going with her for prenatal checkups again and again, never missing a single appointment, no matter how busy he was. He said he couldn't wait for their baby to be born, that she and their son were the most precious things in his life. Reading further, my heart was wrenched, agony tearing through me. Every single time I got pregnant, they were planning how to kill my child. Even the car accident I had when I was pregnant a year ago, Sarah caused it herself. She said she wanted to experience the thrill of hitting someone, and Robert gladly agreed. He just casually reminded her, go easy. They discussed how to hurt me and how to kill my children with casual ease, as if they were discussing the weather. My fingernails dug into my palms, drops of blood falling from my hand. I opened the photo album, tens of thousands of photos, every single one featuring Sarah, pictures they took together, candid shots, them waking up together, taking walks, going home together. Robert thoughtfully preparing nutritious meals for pregnant women for her. There were also 99+ video recordings. I switched over and instantly felt like someone had dumped a bucket of cold water on me, chilling me to the bone. Inside were countless videos of them being intimate, as if they were deliberately documenting every encounter. There was even role-playing, Robert dressed in a maid outfit, kneeling on the floor. I clutched my stomach tightly, nauseated and unable to utter a word. Besides those videos, there were 6 more labeled first, second, all the way to 6. Realizing what they were, my blood boiled and a sickly sweet taste rose in my throat. Biting my lip hard, I tapped on 6. Robert and Sarah were laughing and talking. In front of them was. The knife felt like it was cutting into me. My heart felt like it was being sliced into 1,000 pieces, the pain causing my stomach to start cramping. I couldn't take it anymore and leaned over the side of the bed, dry heaving violently. I didn't sleep all night, my clothes soaked with tears. The next day, Robert, as usual, specifically bought me breakfast. There was a rich variety, both Eastern and Western styles, coffee, pastries, bacon, eggs, bread, egg tarts. Before, I thought this was his indulgence of me, but now I knew it was just a perfunctory gesture born of indifference. Thinking of last night's videos, I started dry heaving again. Seeing I was unwell, Robert seemed very concerned. Why are you still feeling sick? It's all my fault for letting Ellie suffer. It's nothing. I want to go home. Robert's expression stiffened for a moment. You miscarried again. And my mother is not happy. Going back now would be getting on her bad side. It's better to go back in a while to avoid her anger. I didn't say anything. From his expression, I could guess what was happening. he wasn't there in the afternoon. So I packed my things and went home myself, sitting in a wheelchair. As soon as I entered the house, I saw Sarah sitting in Robert's lap, both of them playing with Tom. Barbara came out of the kitchen carrying a special health drink and personally fed it to Sarah, spoonful by spoonful. The three of them were laughing and chatting, looking every bit like a family. Seeing me enter, Barbara's eyes instantly turned sharp. Jinx, you have the nerve to come back. My son has been taking good care of you day in and day out. How do you repay us? A bad omen like you should die outside. You knew you were pregnant, yet you were running around all day. How many lives have you killed in the Robert family? Why didn't you fall and die? You wretched thing. Let me tell you, from today onwards, the only daughter-in-law I recognize is Sarah. Get out of my sight right now. You're just dirtying my house. Sarah looked over, following Barbara's gaze, her eyes full of triumph. Mother Barbara, don't say such things. What if my sister-in-law gets jealous and tells people outside that I'm seducing Rob? Let her dare. I knew Barbara had always disliked me. She thought I was too capable and difficult to control, and that after marriage, I would dominate Robert. Sarah, on the other hand, was pretty and sweet-talking, making everything revolve around her and Robert, so Barbara wanted Sarah to be his daughter-in-law. But later, Sarah married a rich man, and I willingly gave up my career to be a homemaker. Only then did she reluctantly accept me. For years, I hadn't had a child for the Robert family, and her dissatisfaction with me reached its peak long ago. Now Sarah was back and had given birth to a son for Robert. Naturally, Barbara had no reservations and vented all her frustration on me, but she didn't know that all 7 of my miscarriages were orchestrated by her son himself. Every single one of her grandchildren was experimented on by her beloved daughter-in-law, Sarah. Robert used to mediate, but now, holding the child Sarah had given him, he acted as if he heard nothing. Sarah snuggled into his arms, her voice feigning grievance. Robbie, you're giving all your attention to our son. He's completely overshadowed me. If you keep this up, he'll be upset. Robert dotingly pinched her cheek, his eyes full of tenderness. I knew you'd love being jealous. Look at that. I followed Sarah's gaze. The word stock transfer agreement stabbed me in the eye. Wow, Robbie, you're so good to me. She happily kissed the corner of Robert's mouth, then looked at me with triumphant eyes. I gave her a cold smile. Enjoy it while it lasts. It won't be long before you and your Robbie come back crying and begging me. But if you do this, won't your sister-in-law be angry? After all, this is your entire fortune. Robert froze, as if just realizing I was there. He quickly said, Ellie, don't misunderstand. Barbara and I discussed legally making Sarah's child his heir, which is why I'm transferring the stock to her. This was a necessary step. After all, your uterus is damaged and cannot have children. The Robert family cannot be without an heir, so I can only place all hope on Tom. You understand, right? My ears were ringing. I looked at Robert in disbelief. What's his name? He froze, then realized and lowered his head, too guilty to look me in the eye. Hope was the name Robert and I chose for our child. It meant complete or fulfilled. I had longed for that child for 8 years. How many nights had I cried out hope, wishing my lost children could return to me. He actually used that name for his child with Sarah. How could he be so cruel? His name is Tom. Robbie chose it himself. It means complete or fulfilled, Sarah replied with a look of innocence. I couldn't bear it any longer. They could torment and harm me, but how could they so cruelly trample on a mother's love for her child? I lunged at Sarah like a madwoman, wanting nothing more than to take her down with me. But with lower body paralysis, all my effort only resulted in me falling out of my wheelchair. Barbara's face showed disdain. What are you doing sprawled on the floor, you waste? Aren't you embarrassed enough? If I were you, I'd drown myself right now. The Robert family is truly unlucky to get stuck with a bad omen like you. It's a terrible jinx. Robert started to help me up, but Sarah suddenly clutched her chest and frowned. Robbie, my milk came in. It hurts so much. Robert anxiously picked her up by the waist. I'll take you to rest. They went into the room. Barbara picked up the sleeping child and glared at me. You're back and you're not going to cook. Expecting this old woman to cook and feed you. I struggled to get up, my fingernails digging into my palms. Then enjoy this dinner. After tonight, I'll make every single one of you kneel on the ground and beg for my forgiveness. After finishing the meal, I glanced around the living room but didn't see Robert or Sarah. When I reached our bedroom, I froze. All the blood in my body turned to ice instantly. The sounds from inside were unbearable. Peeking through the door crack, I saw Sarah, half naked, sitting in Robert's lap. Robbie, isn't this exciting? Your sister-in-law is right outside, you know. Only you would tease me like this at a time like this. The intimate sounds from inside grew louder, fighting back the nausea. I started recording on my phone. They were too engrossed. Neither of them noticed me. During dinner that night, Sarah was unusually attentive, constantly putting food on my plate. Ellie, while we were resting. You went through your miscarriage and still did all the cooking. That's too much work. Eat more. After eating, my stomach churned with nausea. I steered my wheelchair into the yard. I don't know how long passed, but the 7th sample vial shattered in front of me. She smiled maliciously. Eleanor, was dinner good? Do you know what was in it? A switch flipped in my mind, realizing what she meant. I stared at her in disbelief. T-ask. Do you know what you look like right now? Like a dog without legs. Looking at you disgusts me. If I were you, I would have killed myself already. How do you have the face to keep living? You'll never be better than me. So what if you married Rob? He still loved me desperately, so much that he even killed your 7 children for me. Actually, I had access to experiments. But he was worried about my experiment data and insisted on taking the child from your womb for me to use. My body trembled uncontrollably. I steered my wheelchair, charging at her like a madwoman. But Sarah raised her hand and slapped herself twice, then collapsed towards the flower bed. The next second, my wheelchair was overturned. Robert glared at me, his eyes blazing. Eleanor, how could you be so vicious? Sarah tearfully accused me. I saw my sister-in-law was upset and wanted to comfort her. But as soon as I mentioned the baby, she said I was showing off, rushed over and slapped me twice, and pushed me into these thorns. Robert's face darkened. You can't have children yourself, and you're actually jealous of Sarah? I never thought you were this kind of person. I stared intently at him. My children were all killed by you. Robert, how long were you planning to deceive me? Robert's expression changed. He immediately picked up Sarah and left, leaving behind the words, "You're completely unreasonable." Watching their retreating figures, arms around each other, there wasn't a shred of tenderness left in my heart. The next morning, I found a lawyer and had a divorce agreement drafted. I mailed the USB drive containing the backup of Robert's work phone and the recorded videos to the court, filing charges of bigamy and murder against Robert and Sarah. After doing all this, I headed straight for the airport. On the way to the airport, I received a text message from Robert. Come to the hospital now and apologize to Sarah, and I might still forgive you. I pressed the phone screen off mockingly. I don't need your forgiveness. I just hope you can withstand my revenge. Robert saw I didn't reply, called me, but it showed the number was disconnected. He felt something was strange. Just as he was about to ask Robert's assistant to check the house, he saw him run over, looking panicked. Mr. Robert, something terrible has happened. Robert frowned, displeased. Didn't I teach you to stay calm? What are you so frantic about? The company's stock plummeted this morning, and everyone online is talking about you and Ms. Sarah being murderers. Robert took the phone handed to him by his assistant and quickly scanned the screen. Online, he was the hot topic of discussion, accused of murdering his wife for his mistress, causing her 7 miscarriages, and many people were posting a lot of evidence. Looking closely, Robert realized that the supposed evidence was all his chat records with Sarah. Realizing something, he turned and instructed his assistant, quickly contact Eleanor. If she comes forward, there's still a chance to turn this around. The company's public relations department contacted your wife this morning as soon as they got the news, but her phone shows the number is disconnected. Robert roared, then go find her. Go to my house and look. He took out his phone and started sending me messages non-stop, only to find I had blocked him. For some reason, he had a feeling this was just the beginning. A strange panic began to set in. Robert's assistant left, but not long after, he ran back in, looking anxious, and handed him some documents. Mr. Robert, someone just delivered these documents. Robert took them from his assistant's hand. The first document he saw was a divorce agreement. His hand trembled. Looking further, the property division demanded an equal split of the company's stock. Sarah, watching from a distance, bolted upright in the hospital bed, her voice shrill. Where does she get the nerve to demand a split of the property? Robert didn't pay attention to her. He opened the second document. It was a notice of termination for key intellectual property IP. Seeing this, Robert's heart sank. When he first started the company, it was my joining that allowed the Robert Group to break through technical bottlenecks. I had been providing key intellectual property IP for the company. Later, Barbara resented me for constantly overshadowing Robert. To marry him, I resigned from the company's affairs. After I left, the company steadily declined, even coming close to bankruptcy. I offered to return to the company to help him, but he refused outright. I knew Barbara's words often reflected Robert's own intentions. He resented that I was too capable at the company, mastering core technology, making him feel emasculated. To maintain his pride, I secretly started a consulting firm and helped the company overcome difficulties in a B2B manner. That's how things had been all these years. They hadn't accessed my key information, yet I knew everything about his company inside and out. If the property division in the divorce agreement had surprised Robert, the notice of termination for key intellectual property IP was a devastating blow. Robert finally understood that I was holding his lifeline. "You don't need to go. I'll go find her myself," Sarah complained. "Robbie, she pushed me into the pile of thorns last night. I'm still hurting all over." Preoccupied, Robert impatiently brushed her off. "If you're hurting, just rest in the hospital." Before he even left the door, his assistant called out to him, "Mr. Robert, it's packed outside with reporters and onlookers. If you go out like this, maybe you should disguise yourself." Having been used to being in charge for years, Robert was too proud to humble himself. He gritted his teeth and walked out. He was instantly surrounded by reporters and spontaneous crowds. Some were worried about the stock plummeting, others were speaking up for Eleanor. In short, by the time Robert got home, his head was covered in egg. Barbara, scared by the people blocking the doorway of the house, shrunk into the living room corner. "Mom, where's Ellie? That bad omen left last night when you took Sarah. Why are you asking about her?" Robert's heart continued to sink. "Son, what's going on with those people outside? They keep throwing things at the house and calling someone a murderer. What is this? Could it be that Eleanor, that bad omen, killed someone? Son, hurry and divorce her." Robert didn't answer. He called his secretary and asked him to track my whereabouts from last night until today. The secretary checked the surveillance footage at the community entrance and the airport and found I had gone overseas. He sent the video to Robert, who finally couldn't sit still. This meant I was going to fight to the death. Robert searched for me among all my friends. Before he could reach me, he received news of investors pulling out from all the company's projects. Following the news of the withdrawals, the company's stock plummeted, heading for collapse. He had to cover his head and return to the company. He repeatedly assured the board of directors that he would quell online rumors and recover the core technology. After finally dealing with them, he returned to the hospital. As soon as he entered, he heard Sarah complaining, "Robbie, Eleanor is just too much. Look online. They're all cursing me. She's a disabled cripple now. Without you, she can't even feed herself. Why don't you just divorce her? Be ruthless and teach her a lesson. Otherwise, I'm being cursed by these people for nothing. The things they're saying are awful." As Sarah spoke, she started tearing up, completely oblivious to the seriousness of the situation. Robert's face was pale with embarrassment, but he still went forward to comfort her. "Ellie went a bit too far this time, but what we did was truly too cruel. I've reflected. I shouldn't have crippled her legs. She was such an active person who loved to run and jump. Lower body paralysis. It must be truly difficult for her to accept. When she comes back, I'll definitely hire the best doctors and compensate her well." These words greatly displeased Sarah. Just as she was about to flare up, Robert repeatedly received payment reminders. He changed the subject abruptly. "Sarah, the stock I transferred to you. Return it to me for now." Sarah cut him off, refusing flat out. "No, you promised it to me and the baby. How can you go back on your word?" Sarah's reaction surprised Robert. He froze for a second. He had always felt that they understood each other perfectly, which is why he had transferred a portion of the stock to her after she gave birth to the child. He hadn't considered the cost. He genuinely wanted to be good to her and their son. That's why he had hurt Ellie like that. But the company is facing a crisis right now. I just want to take it back temporarily to help with the cash flow. I'll give it back to you once we're through this. Robert tried to persuade her with kind words, but Sarah just turned on him. "You just regret it. You're teaming up with Eleanor now to trick me into giving the stock back. I won't let you succeed. It's mine now that it's in my hands." "Robert, don't forget, I gave birth to a son for you. How can you treat me like this?" Unable to get the stock back from Sarah, Robert was forced to sell the Robert family mansion out of desperation. Barbara moved from the mansion to a small house. When she learned that Sarah refused to return the stock, she charged furiously to the hospital. They barely exchanged a few words before they started fighting. Barbara, being older, couldn't beat Sarah. In a fit of rage, she picked up the nearby kettle and poured boiling water on her. Sarah suffered 90% severe burns to her face. Barbara was taken away by the police on the spot for assault. I learned this news right after finishing my rehabilitation session. I contacted top international specialists. Fortunately, with timely treatment, my legs are slowly regaining sensation. Robert's assistant also roughly informed me about the company's situation. When I returned to the company by providing key intellectual property IP through my consulting firm, he was the one I dealt with. I had helped him a lot, and we had a good relationship over the years. When he learned about what Robert had done to me, he voluntarily told me this information. He said, "You have to have a conscience." I stayed in the hospital for a while. My legs had basically regained sensation, and I just needed regular checkups. After being discharged, I rented a house in the suburbs. After cleaning the house, I turned on that old phone. One after another, local news notifications came in. I tapped on one and glanced at it. It was all about the Robert Group's disputes. It said the Robert Group CEO was suspected of being a psychopath, severely abused his wife for 8 years, and intentionally caused miscarriages. It said the Robert Group suffered loss of core technology, the stock plummeted, various projects continued to pull out, and the company was facing bankruptcy. There was another headline. I tapped on it and quickly scanned it. It was about Sarah suing the Robert Group CEO, saying the CEO went back on his word and reclaimed the promised stocks, citing lack of notarization. No one would pass up money. As long as the situation was difficult enough, Robert wouldn't care about their relationship. As for Sarah, she was only after the money. Robert reclaiming the stock was essentially taking her life. It would be strange if they didn't fight to the death. Combined with the online rumors of Robert abusing his wife, some people guessed that Sarah was the mistress. The public outcry online against the two of them was immense. Just then, the Robert Group CEO, Robert, issued a clarification statement on a private account, saying that he only had his wife Eleanor in his heart. This statement directly pushed public opinion to a climax. Some online users even dug up evidence that he had intentionally murdered his unborn children up to 7 times, just to use the fetuses for experiments for his mistress. The plot was too shocking. Many people dismissed it as a rumor, but afterwards, nurses and doctors kept coming forward with anonymous tips, confirming the matter from multiple sources. Public opinion was boiling. Many also raised questions, pointing out that this situation broke the law. And if it were true, the police should have arrested them long ago. Just as the online discussion was losing steam, Sarah and Robert were summoned by the court. There were all kinds of speculations at once. Some even speculated that I hadn't shown up for so long because I had already been killed and dumped by them. I smiled and exited the page. Opening the messaging app, I saw Robert had sent me many messages using someone else's account. I glanced through them. They were all about repentance and begging for my forgiveness. He said he only appreciates something after losing it, saying he truly loved me, saying he used to mistake something worthless for a treasure, and now he realized I was the most important thing. I thought he was extremely hypocritical. It was he who chose to hurt and deceive me again and again. He didn't realize and repent when he saw that I had discovered the truth and chosen to leave. Instead, he was forced into a corner before claiming he realized the one he loved was me. His love certainly comes at a cost. I can't accept it, and I wouldn't dare to. After being summoned by the court, Robert was released on bail pending trial. He walked to the doorway of their former home. The whole person exuded a sense of dejection. Only at this moment did he realize how happy he had been before. A thriving career, a wife who loved him, and he would have had an adorable baby. All of this was blinded by his misguided love. Before all this happened, he thought he truly loved Sarah. But having experienced all sorts of things during this time, his ups and downs, he realized the one he truly loved was you. He just didn't realize it before. He sat at the doorway, Eleanor's every expression flashing through his mind. She used to smile so much. But when did she stop? Perhaps because of her suffering, or perhaps he had truly fallen in love with Eleanor without realizing it. Anyway, he really missed her now. Robert took out his phone, desperate to tell Eleanor he truly knew he was wrong, desperate to tell her. He missed her so much, loved her so much. But Sarah's call came in first. She admitted her mistakes to Robert, blaming all the mistakes on me. Robbie, even if Eleanor made a lot of mistakes, don't get a divorce. Things are such a mess now, and well, both look terrible. Whether or not we divorce depends on Eleanor's decision. I also want to win you back. See what she wants. Didn't she love you desperately? Give her some incentive and tell her to quickly drop the lawsuit. For the first time, Robert found Sarah's naivete simply idiotic. He laughed. You must bear the consequences of your actions. If you want her to forgive you, go talk to her yourself. Sarah panicked. You did all those things. It's not my business. I can't risk my whole life. Robert, don't forget your son is still with me. If you don't make Eleanor drop the lawsuit, it'll kill him. Neither of us will have it easy. Fine. Go ahead and kill him. I've already lost so many children. One more won't make a difference. After saying that, Robert hung up the phone. He sat at the house doorway, looked up at the sky, and curved his lips. But then he started crying as he laughed. The day I returned to the country, news of the Robert Group bankruptcy happened to come through. I stood downstairs, feeling a bit dazed. This company, which I helped Robert build from scratch, reached this point as our relationship broke down, but that doesn't affect anything. I came back this time to make it stand up in a different way. After meeting with the original shareholders and finalizing the plan details, after leaving, I ran into Robert. I thought I was seeing things. Ignoring him, I turned and walked away. But he held onto my arm tightly. Ellie, I truly know I was wrong. Please give me another chance, okay? I was blinded before. That's why I did those terrible things. I will be doubly good to you in the future. Believe me. He no longer had his former appearance. Stubble had grown out, and his face was full of fatigue. I coldly turned away. No need. Your harm cannot be undone by just an apology. You said you loved Sarah. Now we'll get out of the way. You can be together. After saying that, I walked straight away. Robert panicked and knelt straight down on the ground. Ellie, don't leave. Please give me a chance to explain, okay? I'm afraid if I don't say it now I won't have another chance. I don't love her. Ellie, I want to tell you, after experiencing all sorts of things during this time, my ups and downs, I realized the one I truly loved was you. I just didn't realize it before. I know I hurt you a lot. I will spend the rest of my life atoning. Won't you forgive me? I looked at him coldly. Love me? For years, you again and again almost took my life. Now you tell me you love me? Why should I forgive you? Robert, you killed my 7 children. You even watched Sarah dissect them with your own eyes. Those were your children too. Even wild animals don't harm their young. How could you bear it? I've seen all those videos. I watched them carefully. I want to remember that moment of hatred. I want you and Sarah to pay the price. Let go. The biggest regret of my life is meeting you. You really disgust me. My words made Robert's face turn ashen. Tears fell unexpectedly. His eyes were full of pleading, begging me to forgive him. I will atone. I will. I didn't listen further, turned and left. The sound behind me got further and further away until I couldn't hear it at all. The next day, I received the signed divorce agreement mailed by Robert. That afternoon, news came from the police station that he had surrendered for his multiple attempts to hire someone to kill me, simultaneously exposing Sarah as his accomplice. She was arrested by the police. Sarah's husband learned about this. He returned to the country immediately and filed for divorce. The Robert Group scandal that lasted over a month ignited further outrage online. It ended with the 2 central figures jailed. I registered the consulting firm as a company. Robert Group's original shareholders joined one after another. Just as the company was doing better and better, Robert's mother came to find me. When she was taken away by the police for intentionally injuring Sarah, she might have obtained leniency later. She was released after only a few days in detention. Now she came to find me, hoping I would take care of her in her old age. Ellie, Barbara was misled by that wretched thing Sarah before. That's why I was so mean to you. Barbara knows she was wrong. This is your company? So impressive. Barbara knew you were a person who does great things, dear. Where do you live now? Barbara will go home with you later. I looked at her mockingly and turned around. Security guard. Throw her out for me. The sound of cursing came from behind, but it got further and further away. My mother-in-law, she had never treated me sincerely, yet now she naively thought she could just come back and cling to me. It was very ridiculous. Not kicking her when she's down is already merciful. Let her count the days expecting her good son and good daughter-in-law to be released from prison to be with her. I hope she lives to see that day.